Welcome to Politics NY with Sky. Schneps Media is interviewing every single candidate running for New York City Council this year, and we're talking to each candidate just for 3 minutes. We're doing 3 questions in 3 minutes, and right now I'm with Linda Lee, who's running for District 23 in Eastern Queens. And Linda, we have 3 minutes together to have a candid conversation, so why don't you begin with telling us your background?
Sure. So first of all, I never thought that I would be running for any sort of elected office position ever. My background is mostly in the nonprofit world, and that's actually a large reason why I wanted to run in the first place, because as soon as I got into my nonprofit work, we were on the ground, on the front lines, providing services to the community. And I saw very clearly how there was a gap in the policy and legislation that was being created and how it actually works, or rather doesn't work sometimes, on the ground. And so when it comes to senior services or mental health services, Meals on Wheels, there is a bit of a gap there, which is why I wanted to really bring that community-centered perspective to city government. And I think especially during COVID, we have seen how a lot of those disparities have become that much more prominent. And so when you're talking about communities of color, folks with language barriers who can't access the unemployment website and who can't access the website to get an appointment for COVID, it's been quite challenging. And so, you know, we've been on the front lines just providing as much assistance to the community as possible. And to be honest, like at some point last summer, towards the end of the summer, I was like, you know what, I think now's the time. I think as a mom myself of 2 young kids that are 6 and 2, a public school parent that had to do remote learning, blended learning, all of that, and trying to navigate that, plus working and serving the community, I was like, wow, I think we need more women and women of color in office, and we need to bring that perspective and voice to the table. And so that was a large reason why I decided, you know what, I think now's the time.
So, Linda, what makes you the best person for that council district?
Well, I think the thing that differentiates me from some of the other folks running in my race is that I know that there's definitely folks that have been in government before that are in trying to run for the seat, but I think it's very different being on the flip side of things and on the other side of the fence, where you're actually trying to carry out the policies and legislation that have been created. And so it's quite an interesting experience, I have to say, especially during COVID, when one minute, they're telling, okay, this is the regulation and this is what the rule is and this is what you need to follow. And then the next day it completely changes. And so I think having that on the ground, practical, day-to-day, everyday experience is really what separates me from some of the other candidates that I'm running against. And I think it's what really will, I think, make me a stronger candidate, because I have that perspective.
So there you go. That's a little bit about Linda Lee running for District 23 in Eastern Queens. You've been watching Schneps Media's 3 questions in 3 minutes with all the city council candidates. Thank you. And this is Sky with Politics NY.